Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Mess Tom. Thank you so much for clicking this video. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My channel is all about loving my collection as it currently is, being critical of new makeup releases, and also being very considerate and thoughtful about what we're bringing into our collection and why. So that kind of content sounds good to you. I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like this video, and I'm also on Patreon if you want to support me there. Welcome to the very first edition of Critical Sass. This is gonna be what I call my new makeup release videos because I often, instead of feeling like I'm being negative about things, I just want to be critical, but we also want to have fun while we're doing it, so we're gonna have some critical sass, okay? That's what we're doing here. I used to do anti-hauls when I was in my no-buy for 6 months in 2021, but now that I'm out of my no-buy, I feel like it's more appropriate to call these critical sass because I do want to speak positively about things that I feel like should be spoken positively about, and then be sassy about things that I feel like we should be sassy about. I have saved some posts from Trend Mood, Makeup Release Radar, Beauty News. So those are where I'm like sourcing these from. I might not know all of the details of all these things. Also, I've saved some older things that a lot of other people have already discussed, so unless you want to hear my opinion on them, like, you know, you might not, they've been around the block for a minute. So let me just pull up my saved posts on Instagram. So the first thing I have is the new Light Reflecting Foundation from NARS. Okay, this is from Trend Room. Makeup that looks like skin, acts like skincare, feels light as air, instantly blurs the look of blemishes, dark spots, redness, and textured skin while improving skin clarity over time. Natural finish, all day wear, 36 shades for most skin types, including sensitive skin. It has, it'll launch in a couple days. It launches on the 13th. Based on the description, this is a foundation that I am like very interested in. Very, very interested in. Now, let me talk about the personal reasons why I won't be buying this during the launch date or at the launch date. First things first, I just have too many foundations in my collection right now. I am really trying to be cognizant of that and use up some of my foundations. And a lot of my foundations that are in my collection currently are like at least a year old, if not 2 or 3. So a lot of them are well past their 12-month date of expiration. So, you know, I'm just being aware of what I'm bringing in. So foundation's like really off the table because it's like something that does go off, doesn't have the most stable shelf life. So I don't want to buy this and then have it sitting in my drawer, or buy this and then really like it and then continue to use it over other things that I probably should be paying attention to. And considering like I just finished my big project from December, for those of you who don't know, I'll leave a playlist down below of the project. I tried to use all of the makeup I own in 31 days, just putting it on my face, obviously not trying to pan everything I own in 31 days. And I really curated a foundation collection that I'm very happy with to continue on into the new era of my channel. So this will be a pass for now, but once I am down to like 3 foundations, this is a foundation I could see myself snacking to try in the future. So no, I'm not going to be a person who buys this and reviews it for launch date. But what that also means is that I can also wait for other people to review it and then see if it's even worth me trying with my doll hairs. So that works out for me. But let's talk about this. Let's speculate. I don't know if the ingredient list is up for this yet, but it says that it has skin clearing ingredients in it. I need to know what NARS means by that, because when I hear, I love dewy, I love light as air, I love natural coverage. All of those things sound good to me, but skin clearing ingredients is a little bit of like a thing, like a thing that I don't know that I like. Now, my brain goes to salicylic acid. Whenever I hear skin clearing, it's like some kind of exfoliation is happening. And typically skin clearing, we go to salicylic. So I don't know, it's very interesting. They seem to be marketing this foundation as something that sounds like it would be for someone who has dry skin and not too much texture, or like texture would be okay, but like very little texture. I don't know. I'm curious on this. I'm curious to see what happens with it. I'll be following the career, to borrow from Hannah Louise Wilson, I will be following the career of this this foundation with great interest. Good release. Solid release. I do think that NARS, a lot of people really like NARS complexion. I have a foundation from NARS that I really like. It's the soft matte foundation. I used to really like matte foundations. I've moved away from that, but I really still like the NARS soft matte foundation. I don't have the right shade for myself right now, but it is a good foundation. So another reason I'm keen on potentially trying this in the future, but I don't need it right now. And before you go and buy it, maybe you should consider whether or not all your foundations in rotation right now are getting rotated in. And would this just distract you from those foundations or not? Or do you need to try a new foundation? Maybe this is for you. As long as, you know, let's be aware, let's be cognizant of these things. Okay, Danessa and Myricks released multi-chrome eyeliners. So I love a multi-chrome for my lids, but I am just not an eyeliner person, so this like misses me in a different kind of way. Like I have two eyeliners that I switch through. One is black and one is a brown black. And that's really, no, that's a lie. I have a blue one and I have a couple liquid liners, but like liners are like not my favorite thing. And so I couldn't see myself using these. However, these have gotten into the hands of some creators that I follow and people are not enjoying these very much. Danessa Myricks I have a lot of questions about the brand. I have color fixes from her, and I understand how those work a little bit better now. I've been using them during my makeup playtime. It does feel like a lot of her stuff is like hit or miss to people. Like it is one or the other. It is never consistent. So I wouldn't want a multi-chrome in my waterline. And maybe if I had like a very beigey, bossique looking thing and I like wanted to put that and that was like the spice of the look, maybe, but I don't know. I always just feel like eyeliner is not the moment for me. It will never be the moment for me, and you know, who knows, 3 months from now maybe eyeliner will be the moment for me. But like even in these swatches, they don't look that spectacular, right? Like, you know, whenever I want to see a multi-chrome swatched, I want it to be like I've gone to space, I have, you know, like, and I don't even think that the swatches here are like giving multi-chrome. They're giving like pretty, but they're not like giving me multi-chrome. So that's a bit of a bummer for me, but get your life. That's just not something that I need to see. So Givenchy they've had these before. I swear to God they had a pressed version of their Prisme Libre powders, but they're either revamped them or I don't know. So this is something that I could very much see come down the pipeline being something that I would try. I currently right now have powders that I would like to finish before I'm bringing any new powders in. Givenchy powders are very beautiful, very fine, very beautiful. They're very finely milled. They feel really great on the skin. They look really good on the skin. And what's nice about these ones is that they have like color correcting powders within the powders. What will be nice is that you could really focus your brush in one of the shades if you are the person who's going to be like doing that with it. So is it an interesting release? Not really. I don't think to most people that this is an interesting release, but it piqued my interest. I love a powder. I love a nice powder. In my collection right now, I have powders that I enjoy enough to want to use them up before I bring a new powder in. And I think maybe probably going forward, once I am at the point where I need to replace my powders, I will probably bring one pressed powder in and one loose powder. And this I could see being the pressed powder that I bring into my collection. The next thing I'm going to talk about, I didn't even know what I was looking at when I first saw it. So Kiko Milano is releasing their Suite of Fairs collection. And it all is like chocolate inspired. And so what is interesting is that Kiko Milano has somehow made their candy bar inspired palette look more like a candy bar than the chocolate bar palettes from Too Faced. So I think this is really cute. I don't know anything about Kiko Milano. I have no idea. They look baked because of the way, like, I don't think those are pressed. They might be baked shadows. Some people aren't into baked eyeshadows. I think baked eyeshadows are very lovely. I feel like they blend easier. Kiko Milano is a brand I don't really understand. Do they have like a core collection? Because I feel like I only ever see like special releases from them, which is fine. I mean, obviously, if I didn't follow other brands more heavily, I probably wouldn't know much about their core lines either. So I don't know. But I do think that the packaging looks very lovely. I don't know, because Kiko Milano is not a very expensive brand. This looks a little bit luxe to me. Like, I don't know. They like stepped up the game a little bit. This looks beautiful. Not something that I'm keen on trying, but like good for them for making something that was like intriguing to me, because I find that my favorite part about like part of the luxury, if you're new here, I tend to lean on the side of luxury. That's like where I really like my collection to be. So that's where I lean. That's like my tendency. And one of the things about like drugstore prices or mid-tier prices is like always the packaging can miss me. Like it just misses me. And even if this like feels cheap, it doesn't look super cheap. So I don't know how many shades of everything that they have, but this is really cute, and I think this is something that people will really enjoy. So congratulations to Kiko Milano. Anastasia Beverly Hills has relaunched their lipstick line. It's in like new shiny packaging. The other lipsticks came in like a matte black bullet, which was very sleek, very chic, but I don't remember people really liking those bullet lipsticks. I never tried one. They had some cool shades though. It looks like they're doing more of a nudie thing for this release, which is fair enough. I do think that the general consumer has really cooled it on lipsticks. Like there was a long time where I felt like we all loved a pop of lipstick, and I do think like people will still do a pop of red, but very few people are gonna do like a pop of green or like a literal gray. That's not like everyone's journey. So I do think that we're just gonna like brands are like, obviously we always see mostly nudes from a lipstick release, but I just think that that's, you know, that trend will continue into perpetuity. I'm curious about the formula of these. I don't need a lipstick right now, so I wouldn't be purchasing these. There's lip liners too. I don't know that the last lipstick launch had lip liners, so I don't know if there's like a lip liner for each pencil, like each shade of lipstick. One thing I do appreciate about Anastasia Beverly Hills, which I don't know that I really speak highly of them very much, other than I often like their formulas, but I also find that they just like don't know what they're doing. They really, this probably is something that a lot of people hate, but they really do spice up their core collection quite a bit. They shake it up. They'll add shades to things, and like they'll do it very quietly. Like all of a sudden, whenever I was working at Sephora, I just remember they added like 2 like eyebrow pencils that were for people with red hair, and there was like a like ashy red, which was pretty interesting, and then they had like, I don't know, I don't really remember the name of the shades, but it was like all of a sudden their eyebrow line was like extended by a couple shades, and I thought that was like very smart. Like you sometimes you just need to go look at the display to see if there's something new. And I kind of appreciate that. Like just like relying on your core products. And then when you feel like their time has come to an end, they did it with like their foundation sticks a couple years ago. They did it with their lipsticks. Like they were like, these need an overhaul. I think they need to do it with their liquid lipsticks as well, but who knows? It's interesting because I feel like I hear such polarizing thoughts with the trend of lipstick. I like don't love the liquid lipstick anymore. That's not like what I'm gonna reach for. I would sooner reach for a bullet lipstick. So I do feel like people are trending toward bullet lipsticks, but that might just be me, because like creators I follow here like will really love liquid lipstick, and like it's just like not my journey anymore. But so I don't know. I don't know if they would redo their liquid lipsticks, but I think it's something they should consider, because I feel like I mostly hear people like not speak well of the liquid lipsticks from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I've never personally tried one. Another foundation release. If you're new here, I love a foundation. I'm more of a complexion person than I am like an eyeshadow person. So you throw me a contour, a bronzer, a blush, a foundation, a concealer, a primer, like that is my jam. That is what I'm into. So Charlotte Tilbury has released the Beautiful Skin Medium Coverage Liquid Foundation with Hyaluronic Acid. The skincare infused foundation is to improve the look of skin with each application. A 16-hour natural glow, lightweight foundation with buildable medium coverage to hydrate, smooth, blur pores, and brighten skin. Helps prevent pollutant particles from penetrating the skin, strengthening its barrier, and improving skin quality over time. That's interesting that both NARS and Charlotte Tilbury have basically come out with, obviously not the same formula, but the same idea, right? Where it's like, this foundation improves your skin over time. I don't know. Like, I think in general, we just need to, like, let foundation be foundation. It's not skincare. I don't mind, like, a tint to a skincare item if we're gonna do it, but I like the lightest of tint. So, I don't know. And here's my gripe with Charlotte Tilbury and her releases, her foundations. Everything is so yellow. Everything is so yellow. And as someone who has a pink undertone, prefers a neutral, I don't really always match my foundation to, like, the pinkness in my skin, because sometimes, well, right now I'm using self tanner, but not all over my body, just on my face. So, like, right now my face is like a real different color than the rest of my body. It's trial and error, babes. It's trial and error. So, like, that one's on me. So, like, let's not judge me for that. Like, I'm just being honest and, like, being vulnerable with you right now, which is, like, something I'm working on just in my life in general. So, like, please don't be mean. But my vulnerability. I drift on this word every time I say it in these videos. Vulnerability. Now it's starting to sound like it's not a real word. That's a real word. Okay, I'm now keeping girl bossing myself, so I gotta move on from this. That all being so yellow, I even saw this in store the other day, and I was like, let me pick up the latest cool tone. Not buy, but, like, let me just look at it. And it was so yellow. And so I just don't trust Charlotte Tilbury's undertones. So this sounds like a lovely product, but if I were to choose between this one and NARS, I would go with NARS. I also just, like, don't trust Charlotte Tilbury as a brand. Like, I don't know. I don't get good vibes. It feels like fake luxury to me. Charlotte Tilbury, and like, this is all hearsay from, like, me just touching things, because I only have ever tried a lip gloss, which I really actually liked, but, like, the only thing I can say for sure that I have, like, tried. Her packaging looks pretty, but doesn't feel luxe. It's so light, and that is not what I am into. Like, her foundation bottle is nice, like the one that comes in the glass bottle. Like, that packaging is pretty, but, like, the compacts, they're light as heck, and then the eyeshadows are also, like, light as, I don't know, there's, like, no weight to them, and it just, like, doesn't feel luxe. It just, like, feels expensive, and her magic cream is trash. I don't think it does anything. It dried out my skin more than it moisturized my skin, and I was like, I don't understand the hype around this, so not for me, babes. So, like, Charlotte Tilbury can just, like, fully miss me with any launch. The next thing I want to talk about is more of, like, let's talk about the greater implications of this choice. So Chanel is now being carried in Ulta, and I have a lot of questions. I'm very curious about this move. First and foremost, I want to say that this is a very positive thing, because I'm not an Ulta shopper. It's not that I never have shopped at Ulta, but I don't think to buy my items at Ulta. However, if more brands, luxe brands like Chanel, like a really luxury brands, are gonna make the shift to Ulta, I'm gonna have to say that I think Sephora is kind of, like, fucked. Because in general, so I have always more so enjoyed a shopping experience at Sephora, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I will say, like, overwhelmingly, the feedback whenever I, like, talk about having worked at Sephora or my experiences at Sephora, I feel like a lot of people disagree that they prefer shopping at Ulta. They like the reward system better at Ulta. I do think Sephora, like, has kind of improved their reward system. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but, like, people really like Ulta's reward system. So if I can now buy Chanel and then also get those rewards at Ulta from buying luxe brands, like if more luxury brands do this, I think that's so smart. And I think that a lot of people who never have tried Chanel might try Chanel because they were like, I didn't want to buy it from Nordstrom. I didn't want to buy it from Saks. I didn't want to buy it from A, B, and C places. And now I can buy it from Ulta. And if they carry, I don't know that, I don't know if stores are going to carry the full line, or it's probably like a store-by-store basis. I'm going to go ahead and guess. I just feel like Chanel has been like a rather inaccessible brand for a lot of people. And there's a lot of reasons people do not buy Chanel. This is just making Chanel more accessible because my Sephora did not carry Chanel in store. I'm going to say only like the very, very specific stores you're going to see like Chanel in the Sephoras. So other than that, you're shopping at like Bloomingdale's and Saks and Nordstrom to have an experience where you're interacting with Chanel cosmetics. So this is just making it way more accessible. It's a big deal. I went to an Ulta over the weekend and the Ulta carried, like the new launches from Chanel were there. So I don't know if they're going to like actually have it was like very at the forefront of the store. So I don't know if they will integrate a Chanel section or not, but it was interesting. And I actually ended up buying something from Chanel while I was not at the Ulta, but I was like, there's a product that they've had in their line for a long time. And now that it was because Ulta was carrying Chanel that it like incentivized me to seek out Chanel. So I did go to Nordstrom and I did buy a Chanel product out of curiosity. So like spoiler alert, I guess, if you're following my budget, that is something you will see on the budget at the end of the month. And you'll also see like me using it throughout the month in makeup playtime. I think this is a great move. I hope that more brands that are currently inaccessible, obviously there's still a price inaccessibility, but a visibility, I guess, like better. I would love to see other like luxury brands like get more visibility because I think people would be more willing to dabble in it from Ulta because like Ulta has a return policy. So I don't know what their return policy is, but it's not, I don't think it's that terrible. I've never heard anyone complain about Ulta's return policy, but it would be like people are going to be more willing to give these luxury brands a try in an Ulta setting than they would in another setting. Because some people find going into Nordstrom or Saks Fifth Avenue to be very intimidating, to be very polarizing, because like not everyone gets the same experience, and that's a shame. Ulta very much feels like the self-service makeup place. So if people can like interact with these things by themselves, I think it's gonna be only good for Chanel, and we will see. I hope Chanel like reveals how it does in Ulta. Like, I wonder if they're gonna like talk about that like after they're there for like 3 to 6, 12 months. I'd be very interested in that. I'm not really a financy person. Like, it's not something I'm always interested in, but in this scenario, this is like an interesting case study that I would love to follow the career of. But I would love to know more. Laura Mercier is revealed their new tinted moisturizer, light revealer, natural skin illuminator, broad spectrum, SPF 25. Luminescent pearls add a hint of radiant color while reflecting light to brighten dull skin. French algae, not American, helps improve the look of... Not that I really care where algae comes from. It's just like French algae? Maybe it's a specific strain of algae. Exposed. Plant-based hydration promotes water retention by supporting skin's resilience and vitality. It is $48 in 14 shades. So, I don't know. Laura Mercier with these tinted moisturizers, it's a storied career, isn't it? Because I feel like they existed and then they reformulated, and then the reformulation went very poorly because the product started turning very quickly, and then they pulled those, and I don't know if this is like replacing those or if this is supposed to be its own thing. Love the idea of an illumination. However, this shade range, it's like white and then 4 shades that are deeper, so we're missing a lot in between, and I'm gonna go ahead and guess that lightest shade is not gonna be light enough for me, and probably light enough for a lot of people, because what happens in luxury brands is they miss the ends. They do. They miss both ends, and Laura Mercier has also just disregarded medium complexions and like medium to like medium deep complexions, because it's just like kind of goes from one right into the other. And people will often argue that like it's a tinted moisturizer, so it doesn't have to like exact match. But like I don't even for like medium skin tones, like something normally a skin tone range that is like very often catered to, it seems to be missing. It's like a light, light, light. It's not even like variations on light. It's like they're all light and then 3 deep shades. Like it's so weird. I don't really understand. I think in theory this is a product that I would probably enjoy, but I'm gonna go ahead and just avoid this one altogether. If we're ranking them, NARS reigns supreme of the complexion products that I've talked so far about, the one that I'd be most likely to buy, in case you were curious. Speaking of complexion products, Jaclyn Hill is releasing 2 items: a skin perfecting blurring tint that's $34, a blurring sheer coverage skin tint doing double duty as a blurring primer and tinted moisturizer. Comfy real skin perfection is only a pump away, available in 12 shades. The Faux Filler Perfecting Concealer, $26, a buildable medium to full coverage concealer that visibly brightens, blurs, flexes with skin for flawless finish and all day long, available in 35 shades. So I'm a little bit confused. It's interesting that there's 35 concealers. Now, if there were 36 concealers and basically 3 concealers for each shade of the skin tint, that would make more sense to me. But normally I find if you're not going to do a concealer for each shade, there's more concealer shades than skin tints. So, but I would always say, like, Anastasia Beverly Hills, when they released their concealers, they released the concealers in, like, 25 shades, but they have 50 shades of foundation. So basically a concealer for every 2 shades. That makes more sense to me than what's happening here. Beyond that, it's like your concealer range is better than your tint range. So that feels like weird to me. However, I would be interested in seeing people use the skin tint as a primer, because I recently discovered that I really like using the Dr. Jart Disappour as a primer. So you get like some base coverage and then you get more coverage with whatever you put on top of it. And it's like a very lovely primer. So I could see this, even though what I would like to see is that the range of the skin tint to be I don't think we need more shades. I just think that we didn't do a good enough gradient. And I think that is what happened. Like, if we had a better gradient in the 12 shades, I don't think I'd be like as feeling nitpicky about it. But as it stands, there are many concealers, not so many skin tints. It's just like not feeling like the best release. And again, as Jaclyn Hill has found out time and time again, don't be doing that, because you'll find out, because you did it with the bronzers and now you're doing it with this. It's just like it's stupid. It's just, I don't know what piece of the puzzle like Jaclyn's like not seeing and like putting in, or like even turning around to try to figure out. It's like, it seems like she's like now really going out of her way to not accommodate and adapt. And that's upsetting. Much like I embargo Makeup Revolution and ColourPop, I do believe that like Jaclyn Hill is like not long. She might be a brand that I will not discuss in future videos. While I think this could have been an interesting release, it could have been like something that maybe made me want to try Jaclyn Cosmetics in some capacity. I don't have that desire. Sephora Collection is releasing, or like maybe revamping. Sephora Collection, I used to work at Sephora, for those of you who don't know. Sephora Collection is like very, it's like you might find your favorite product there and then it will disappear in a matter of years. So it looks like they basically revamping their colored eyeliners, which is fine. I think that's smart. I think these look better. These look a little more modern, a little more sleek than their eyeliners before. I think Sephora Collection is a great option for something like if you want to try a pink eyeliner, you want to try a blue eyeliner, that's where you would go. Don't spend all the money on, or like, you know, ColourPop, but like if you're at Sephora. I'm saying if you're at Sephora and you want to try something like this is a good option if you don't want to try it outside of Sephora. So I think this is a solid release. Is it interesting? There's also a new mascara, which I could give 2 bits about, but the mascara packaging I don't like as much as the packaging on the eyeliner. And yeah, I think this is a solid release, but it's like not something I'm interested in. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm very interested in. So Glaminatrix Cosmetics, an Australian brand, has been sneak peeking their Nocturnal Palette, which I believe is supposed to be permanent. I've heard from people that I've heard directly from people that it's supposed to be permanent, because this is an eyeshadow palette that makes me go, ooh, tingly, tingly, tingly. I think what's going to happen, so I think for me, in my channel, and what I do, and what, for my makeup collection, I want to see the whole thing, and then I want to dupe the vibes of it. That's what I would like to do. With my single collection, that's what I would like to do. Because this looks beautiful. I want to play with the color story, see if it's something that I would use, because I've never tried Glaminatrix formula, and I would love to. They're a brand that I think they're doing really good. I love kind of all of the releases that they've had. I just like never pulled the trigger. And I also have recently just feel like eyeshadow is not a place that needs to continue growing in my collection. So for me to bring this in, I would have to really want it. And also, I imagine it's going to be a little bit pricey, because Glaminatrix has been pricey. Their palettes have been pricey. And then I would also be shipping it to the US from Australia, which would cost me a pretty penny too. So being aware of all of that, for me, this is an eyeshadow palette that I'm very interested in. I do not think it would likely come home with me, because if I'm looking at these colors, these are colors that I am constantly interested in. These are like, so it has like vibes of the Natasha Denona Gold palette, which I own. It has like subculture vibes, which I used to own, but I have the Antiquities palette from Noctex, so similar vibes. I have the Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona, grungy vibes. So I'm a grungy girl in a grungy world. So I could very easily find this within my collection. However, the textures, now I have many eyeshadows that have beautiful textures. I want to try theirs really badly. So this is actually on my list. I'm actually going to add it to my list now. It is something that I could see myself buying in the future. If you're not following my career with any kind of interest, I basically, when I want something, I put it on a list, and then I come look at it later, and then I revise. I take things off of it. This has made the list. We will circle back to it at another date. But I think this is a beautiful release. This is like what the opposite of Critical Sass is. Like, I have no complaints about this. Only brings me joy. I love to see makeup that brings me joy. Salt New York has released the Sneaky Balm Hydrating Skin Tint in 12 shades. They're $16 each. So I'm assuming these come in like the pan, which is fine. But that's gonna be an automatic no from me. So this could be my own personal trauma, because I went to beauty school. So my beauty school used mud makeup designery, short for makeup designery. And it was like stuff like this. It was like creamy in a pan. It was not good. And that's trauma from makeup designery. That's my trauma. So that also, like, the way it's packaged is going to make me not want to use this. But also, it's $16. I'm going to imagine if this ends up being like your holy grail product, that is something that you're going to have to buy quickly again and again. As I've watched people who have really enjoyed the KVD Good Apple Balm, they hit pan on that very quickly. And I imagine that's what's going to happen with this. So I can't say that for sure. That's my concern, because I'm pretty sure I saw on their website, I don't really remember what it was, but it just like didn't seem like enough, just like didn't feel like enough for me. So I would like to see other people use it, but NARS is still winning the complexion game. A lot of complexion stuff coming out now. Okay. Suqqu, I believe that's how you pronounce this brand. They're releasing melting powder blushes. I love all of these. There's like a lilac blush, which I'm really into. I want all of them. Suqqu, I think, is only accessible in America through Selfridges. And every time I have like try to seek out a Suqqu product. I hope these are permanent because everything I think I've tried to snag from Suqqu has been a limited edition product, and it seems like Suqqu sells out. I don't even know where the brand is originated, so I don't know the answer to that. It does bum me out there's like not some American stockists, because Suqqu seems like a brand that I would really get on with. I'm very interested in what they're doing. I think all of their releases are just like incredibly beautiful and speak to me. The only blushes that I would be on the market for right now would be cool toned blushes, because as I've been getting to know my collection as it currently is, that is like my biggest gap in blushes. All of my blushes are like lean orangey warm, and for whatever reason that's what attracts my eyes, and that's what I end up liking. So none of these are adding to my collection if I bought them. I just really want to try the formula, but I won't be purchasing them. I'm maybe in the future, but I don't think I'm even going to add these to my list because, like, truly, honestly, I don't need another blush. So Hourglass is releasing the Vanish Airbrush Primer. It minimizes pores, improves skin texture, absorbs oil all day, translucent, skin perfecting, controls shine, extends makeup wear. Now, a long time ago, like when I was first getting into makeup, I remember trying the Mineral Veil primer from them, and I did not get on with it. I felt like it made me look really oily. And now, I wonder if I tried it now, if I would like it more, because my preferences in makeup have changed a lot in the past 5 years. But this is a primer that I'm not beating down a door to get. Much like my foundations, I have found very good primers in my collection as it is, and I just want to use those beautiful primers up before I consider bringing something in. This is a primer that I could see bringing in the future just to try, but it's just not going to happen right now. And the primer that I have my eye on once I feel like fussing with a new primer, I really want to try the Victoria Beckham Priming Moisturizer. So for all of those reasons is why I'm not like interested in this right away. But I'm keen to hear more. When Michelle Wong pulls it out to try for the first time, I will be there with bated breath, waiting to hear. If I see any of my other creators that I follow intently using this product, I will be very keen to hear what they have to say. But for me, no. That was it. I think that's it. I think we've sassed, we've been critical. I would love to hear any of your opinions on any of the releases that I discussed today. Are you going to try any of them? Have you bought any of them? What's your game plan? Are you going to buy the Glaminatrix Nocturnal Palette and make me jealous of you? Are you going to buy the new NARS foundation so I can be jealous of you? I'm not going to be jealous of you, but if you do buy those things, if you do try those things, I would love to hear your feedback on them if you end up buying them. And I just want to know. I want to know. Just like Joe, I want to know. If you made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed spending some time with me, I would love to have you subscribe. Like, honestly, you made it this far. Like, come on, subscribe. Don't forget to like this video on your way out. And don't forget that I'm on Patreon if you'd like to support me there. Dear patrons, if you are watching this video, if you made it to the end, there's a video. It's filmed. I don't know when it's going to go up, but it's ready. It's like, it just needs to be edited. So, fun stuff happening there. Just wanted to let you know, video inside a video, that's coming to you, dear Patreon patrons. And just remember to follow your hope, and you'll find me. Thank you so much for watching this video again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.